Hey everyone, before I begin, I wanted to say thank you for all of the support for last week's video. It was amazing. I loved all the comments. I loved that everybody was really excited. I'm really excited that it got that many views. I didn't know how many I was expecting, but honestly, the fact that it got so much attention was really exciting for me and the rest of my team that helped out with it. I wanted to thank Casey Jones for filming the whole thing, Stephen McCubbin for his audio work, Ian McMillan for his amazing editing skills, and my buddy Jacob from Pixel Productions who helped do the soundtrack that you actually heard that kept the tension up. Thank you for everybody who participated, who had fun with it, and I'm hoping to do many more projects like that in the future. So for this week's video, what I wanted to talk about was framing. Now there's a couple different ways that people end up doing their own framing in terms of creating an imagery, and framing is described as the molding and creation of a perspective, imagery, or likewise of the of something that you wanted to either show your audience or tell your audience. An example of framing could be a news story. Now, we all know that there are different types of news outlets, such as CNN, Fox News, ABC, PBS, anything like that. And anything that I might have mentioned might have triggered you to think, oh, these guys have this certain perspective, or these guys have this certain perspective. That is actually part of framing, is how they actually will frame their stories, how they'll actually tell the story to a certain degree to kind of convince you of their perspective. Everybody has either a bias that leads them to frame or something of that sort. Some examples of framing could be even the news outlets using celebrities, such as Johnny Depp or Milo Yiannopoulos, if you've ever heard of either of those names. Now, framing can be used in all sorts of ways. Normally, people use it in order to put into perspective a certain idea or make people lean a certain way, some mostly political as of right now. Even if they don't have all the data, even if they don't have all the information, they lead everything to be more of a certain opinion that either goes with their views, or sometimes what they'll do is they'll make a frame that goes against their views in order to disprove it. Right now, you might be thinking to yourself, Russ, how can we use this in a non-political way? There are lots of ways that you can use framing in non-political levels. One of the easiest ways that I can make you kind of understand is through an example of, it'll make some Star Wars fans roll their eyes, but Darth Jar Jar. Now you might think to yourself, I know Star Wars, Jar Jar Binks, I know that there are Sith and all these other things, which I'll give you a summary of. So there's a universe called Star Wars that is very popular in Disney folk and Lucasfilm before Disney owned them. And basically it's like space battles and Jedi and magic and stuff like that. And all that to say, there are good guys and bad guys. It's pretty much split down the middle, unless you're talking about all the lore and background and stuff like that. One of the things that's talked about is Darth Jar Jar. Darth Jar Jar is this sort of character of Jar Jar Binks who turns out to be leading the assault on the Galactic Republic in a very indirect way that leads people to think, wait, he might be the guy who's taking over the Republic, not actually Palpatine, or maybe Palpatine's being manipulated by this guy. There are people that believe that this is actually like it's slightly canon and falls into their beliefs. And some I'll kind of explain in a minute, but let me put it into perspective for you. So Jar Jar Binks is this kind of whimsical and kind of imaginative kind of frog or lizard type character that he is very, very clumsy. He knocks things over, he sticks his hands where he shouldn't be, he gets into really weird situations, he's very uncomfortable to be around. He's this character that somehow ended up working his way up through the political scheme and ended up becoming a senator to replace the woman who would be Anakin's wife. And all through the story, you're kind of wondering to yourself, how does this guy play a part? Everybody kind of didn't really know why he was there. They thought he was kind of a filler character. So a lot of people kind of made their own storyline about him that they believed to be true. And they called this Darth Jar Jar, that he was the one actually pulling the strings, that he uses the drunken master technique. And he kind of bounds around in his own way in order to actually get things done while making people not want to look at him. And people believe that he's a Sith Lord. So a Sith Lord is like, it's not the Jedi who are the good guys, it is the Sith who are the bad guys. And he is one of these people that actually manipulates the Senate and all the people around him in order to make him higher up on the level, to put Palpatine in charge and making Palpatine look like the front runner, but it's actually Jar Jar Binks, and Jar Jar is actually one of the Sith Lord that is more powerful than Palpatine himself. Now, if all of the things that I said made you think there is no way that Jar Jar could have done this, or you might think it's just not possible. You might not be as dramatic as there's nothing, but there might be the idea in your head of there's no way. Or you're like, even though the evidence shows that, you know, everything that he showed doesn't make any sense, Darth Jar Jar is actually a thing. That's my framing. I framed it. I put it into perspective in a way that made you either believe or not believe in my way, but my leaning was there's no way he could have done it. I kind of, the way that my voice kind of made the thing sound, or the videos that I showed, and the more heavy leaning on the clumsiness. And I was like, if you believe that this could be this, that kind of makes you think, okay, maybe there's not a possibility. Maybe it's just stupid. And some people frame things like that. That's how things are framed. That's how you have things put into perspective to make you believe either one way or another. And I just framed Darth Jar Jar in a way that I wanted you to believe. Now, you can even be a little bit more indirect about your framing. Framing could be used in terms of light and color, and mannerisms that you have a person walk. So for instance, with my character in The Artist, who I was playing, the boss, I had him walk in very profound and very strong, and had people do things for him like lighting my cigar or cigarette, and things like that, where I had things done for me, or I actually took the dominance and cut Garrett's ear off, or the artist's ear off. Things like that made you believe that my character was the boss, and I was very clean cut. I had a good haircut. I didn't really get my hands, like there was no blood on my hands. I had the bad guys beat him up and soften him up before I got there, so that he wouldn't fight me or anything like that. Those are kind of the ideas that my character was, and that he was in the aggressive and very intense, ness of my character. You can use things such as lighting. My room was very well lit to show I'm being absolutely clear with this character. In The Dark Knight, the part of the room that was lit up was actually used to show how transparent Harvey Dent was being. Batman himself is normally enshrouded in darkness, and sometimes it's not very aggressive darkness unless he's on the hunt. It's actually like just darkness that's kind of room tone darkness, like when he's perched up on the hill, you want to be able to see him, or perched up at very great heights, you actually want to see him, and it's very peaceful, and he's just kind of sitting there. But when he goes to action, he's gone. The darkness hides him, kind of thing. But for Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, he actually emerges from darkness to show his character being revealed and exposed. Lighting can even be used to show heroism, like when Superman, we're gonna keep with DC here, how Superman came down and the light was shining over him so beautifully to show he was very godlike, and everybody looked up to him, and everybody thought he was magical and powerful, and stuff like that kind of helps put your Superman into perspective of glorious, in terms of Pacific Rim, you have the scene where Gypsy Danger is flying in, and it's like the big kind of showdown between the last couple monsters. Gypsy Danger kind of proves itself and says, I'm here, with the light shining on it, and just like all of a sudden powerful, shows up to be the hero. Would be very, very good examples of how lighting can be used as a signal of characterization, and of how you want your character to be pitched. Some examples of soundtrack. We'll keep with Pacific Rim here. Soundtrack is a very, very creative way to do power. You have examples of when Gypsy Danger is pulling along the ship to hit one of the monsters with. If you listen, the music is very strong and powerful and walks along in such an aggressive way. things don't have to be direct in any way. They don't really need to sit there and be, this is how I want you to think, and this is why. Not everything has to be like that. Anything you want can be either subtle, aggressive, or even mild tone, depend on everything. If you think about the way that I'm talking very enthusiastically because I want you to be interested in framing. I want you to understand that this is very cool, that you can kind of see how things are framed or put into perspective, and you never really thought about it possibly. You might not think about how people want you to think about the color purple, or if someone has a guitar riff that sounds to be like anything you've ever wanted to see before, listen to before, or maybe the soundtrack is wrong. You know, you think that maybe if we're going back to Batman versus Superman, when Wonder Woman shows up and you're like, I don't think the guitar riff fit very well, which personally I didn't. I thought that came out of nowhere because there was no guitar in the song or the soundtrack before Wonder Woman showed up, and that just kind of happened, you know? Some people think that way. Some people are very much into how they perceive their characters and whatnot, and maybe that might be something you'd be interested in looking for. And maybe now, if you're writing characters, you want your characters to have some sort of feeling or leaning or something of that sort. You want your good guys to be perceived as good guys, or maybe you're wanting to create a character like Deadpool, who is a little bit of both. He does things that are a little bit shady, but people also think he's still very cool because he's very straightforward in how he does things because he just thinks it's right, you know? Stuff like that. You can do framing on anything. Spiders, colors, sounds, magic, whatever you want it to be, let it be so, and you can frame it. Framing is absolutely unconditional. Do it any way that you want to do it. If you're direct, indirect, you have passion about something you don't think is very great at all, anything that you want to frame, you can frame. You can even comment on this video and say, I think that this was stupid, this is why. You framed it as stupid. Congratulations, it worked. Have a great day. If you have any questions, let me know. Toss a comment down. If you have anything you wanted to know, why I'm not using a pop filter, what camera I'm using, why am I using these lights, is this a dramatic green screen, am I not using a green screen at all, am I in the Bahamas with a random chair I'm sitting in, it doesn't matter. Toss a comment up, like it if you like the video. If you don't, toss a thumbs down, and then tell me in the comments why you hated it. That's okay. I don't mind. All content is good content. That's what I think. And I can frame that for you later if you wanted to. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching my short movies. Thank you for watching this video. I hope everybody has a great day. God bless.